Faithful, lock in. The 49ers have no business spending August mistaking hope for a solution. A rookie is delivering exactly what Kyle Shanahan expected. The market offers a chance to strengthen the pass rush. Brock Purdy faces a projection that demands an answer, and a quiet signing may hide defensive value. Every detail gets judged by San Francisco's one standard. Is this roster ready to chase a championship, or is it leaning too heavily on fragile bets? Subscribe to 49ers Express. This conversation starts with no anesthesia. Kyle Shanahan made a point of cooling down the surprise around Zhaun Stribling. And honestly, that reaction from the head coach makes the rookie's start even more interesting. Through 2 preseason games, the receiver selected with the 33rd pick in the draft has 11 catches for 109 yards. He grabbed 7 passes for 63 yards against Tennessee, including a 32-yard connection, then added 4 receptions for 46 yards on 5 targets against the Chargers. Clean production, repeated production, and very hard to ignore. Shanahan did not treat any of it like a sudden discovery. He said August games do not carry that much weight in his evaluation. The coverages happened to send the football towards Stribling, and the kid simply finished the plays. Then came the part that changes the entire feel of that answer. He has been doing it in practice too, and he is exactly where the coaching staff expected him to be. That is a strong statement without turning it into a coronation. Shanahan is not saying the rookie has already earned everything. He is revealing that the production fans can see is confirming a pattern the coaches have watched every day. For a receiver who stands 6'2", weighs 207 pounds, and ran the 40 in 4.36 seconds, turning opportunity into routine is the fastest path toward earning Purdy's trust. And that opportunity arrived in brutal fashion. Ricky Pearsall is out for the season after surgery to repair the PCL injury in his knee. Shanahan admitted the 49ers hoped they would not need to use Stribling this early or this heavily, but losing Pearsall accelerated the plan. That means more responsibility inside a receiver room that also includes Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans, and Christian Kirk. There is no room to baby a prospect here. If Stribling was drafted that high, owns the size and speed, and is already responding when the football comes his way, then he has to be prepared to produce now. The 49ers never planned to lose Pearsall, but a real contender absorbs that hit without lowering the ceiling of the offense. The preseason finale against the Raiders will be another test. The real pressure, though, begins when San Francisco opens the season against the Rams in Melbourne. August showed us the talent. From that point forward, his routes, reads, and reliability will have to survive when the coverages stop being so generous. The offense found an internal answer earlier than expected. The defense, on the other hand, may have to look outside the building, and the market clock does not wait for anybody. Haason Reddick is available, and Jordan Schultz reported that teams have started showing interest as other pass rushers find new homes. For San Francisco, this is not about collecting another famous name. It is an urgent question about how to keep Nick Bosa from carrying the edge pressure by himself. Bosa is returning from a serious injury. Mykel Williams is still working his way back from a torn ACL and is unlikely to be available at the beginning of the season. Romello Heights suffered an ankle injury that Shanahan described as minor, but it was significant enough to end his preseason. Separately, each situation calls for patience. Put them together, and they draw a very obvious risk. This rotation could enter Week 1 without enough explosion to attack quarterbacks for 4 quarters. But faithful, this is the part nobody should ignore. Reddick recorded 50.5 sacks from 2020 through 2023. That breaks down to 12.5, 11, 16, and 11 across 4 straight seasons. He has 61.5 career sacks, 2 Pro Bowl selections, and 1 second-team All-Pro honor. That resume does not require anybody to pretend he is still at his peak. It also does not allow San Francisco to treat his presence on the market like background noise. The last 2 seasons demand honesty. Reddick had 1 sack in 2024 and 2.5 in 2025. That is why the smartest idea would not be signing him to rescue the defensive line or play every snap as if he were still 27. Use him in a rotational role. Manage the wear on his body. Then unleash him in obvious passing situations. With Bosa threatening one edge and Osa Odigizua driving the pocket from the inside, the opposing offense would have to decide where the extra protection goes. Which side gets help from the running back? Where does the double team slide? Who gets left alone? That is the puzzle where an explosive veteran could become dangerous again. Osa has drawn attention in practice because of his ability to collapse the middle, and that interior force can create shorter paths for whoever is coming off the edge. Raheem Morris would gain the flexibility to build more aggressive third-down packages without asking Reddick to power every defensive front. His recent production could also bring the price closer to San Francisco's range. A short-term deal loaded with performance incentives would turn this possibility into a controlled risk with meaningful upside. There is no report of an agreement with the 49ers. There is a market starting to move, a legitimate roster need, and an analysis arguing that the fit makes sense. That is already enough reason for John Lynch to pick up the phone. Then a betting line shows up and turns aggression into provocation. Covers listed Brock Purdy as the second favorite to lead the NFL in interceptions in 2026 at plus 1,000, trailing only Geno Smith at plus 950. Trevor Lawrence is next, followed by Baker Mayfield. The list is built around an uncomfortable number. Purdy threw 10 interceptions in only 9 games last season. Stretched across a 17-game schedule, that pace would have landed close to 19. I am not running away from that number just to protect the quarterback. His interception rate jumped to 3.5% in 2025 after staying at 2.6% or lower in each of his first 3 seasons. He also threw 1 interception in each of his final 3 regular season games, then added 3 more across 2 playoff games. That has to improve. Defending Purdy does not mean erasing his mistakes. It means examining the entire context and rejecting lazy conclusions. He played only 9 games because of turf toe, and the injuries may have affected his base, his timing, and his control of the football. Even so, he played a central role in the late push that carried San Francisco into the playoffs, and finished with a passer rating of 100.5 or better for the 3rd time in 4 NFL seasons. His career high remains 12 interceptions in 15 games, set in 2024. So this bet takes 1 bad sample and stretches it across a complete season. It is a possible outcome, not a sentence declaring who a healthy Purdy will be. My demand is direct. Now that Purdy has had significant time to recover, he needs to punish this projection with more disciplined decisions. Shanahan owns responsibility here too. If the offense loses its structure, keeps asking for hero ball, and leaves the quarterback operating through interior pressure, the risky throws will come back. If the running game works, the receivers separate, and the protection holds up through the first design of the play, Purdy can recover the level he established before 2025. The sportsbooks see vulnerability. Fine, save the receipt. San Francisco does not need to put on a show in August. It needs to build an offense that does not force Purdy to win every down on the edge of disaster. The strongest answer will not come through an interview. It will come when he takes the easy completion, attacks deep at the right moment, and turns a line built on doubt into competitive fuel. After a rookie being pushed forward, a veteran waiting on the market, and a quarterback placed under suspicion, the final move looks small. That is exactly why it deserves a second look. The 49ers signed Viliami Fehoko, the former San Jose State standout, for a defensive line still searching for security. He is 26 years old, was drafted by Dallas in 2023, has moved through different teams, battled injuries, and has yet to appear in an NFL regular season game. Nobody should sell Fehoko as an immediate answer on the edge. The most realistic projection is a fight for depth, probably behind players such as C.J. West, Sebastian Valdez, Grayson Halton, and Evan Anderson. Halton has already stood out early, which makes the new arrival's path even tighter. But a strong roster is not built with only 11 starters and a collection of headlines. It is built with options that can survive camp, learn multiple jobs, and stay ready when an injury tears through the original plan. In college, Fehoko produced 23 sacks and 46 tackles for loss at San Jose State from 2018 through 2022. He also moved from linebacker to defensive tackle to defensive end. He has primarily worked as a tackle in the NFL, but his background and his size create the possibility of testing him at different spots. That versatility still has to show up against professional competition. It is not guaranteed by his college tape. Even so, it gives Raheem Morris a player he can examine through more than one lens. There is also a local connection that makes the story easy to embrace without distorting its football value. Fehoko grew up in the Bay Area and is the second cousin of Buccaneers defensive tackle Vita Vea, a player some 49ers fans dreamed about bringing to San Francisco. A deal for Vea would have been a completely different operation, potentially involving draft capital and a massive contract extension. Fehoko is the opposite: lower cost, controlled expectations, and an opportunity to come home while trying to finally carve out a place in the league. I want the Niners war room working in the comments right now. Set the priority for this defense. Do you go after Reddick immediately, trust the current edge rushers to get healthy, or preserve flexibility and develop the depth that just arrived? Do not choose the loudest name. Choose with those third downs in January in mind, when an opposing quarterback will have far too much time if Bosa is the only threat that truly scares anybody. Fehoko may not even see the field this season unless injuries begin to pile up. Still, if he stays healthy, impresses in practice, and proves he can move around the defensive front, he gains value as a reserve. This signing does not solve the pass rush issue from the previous discussion. It protects the floor of the rotation while Lynch decides whether to raise the ceiling with a veteran. That distinction matters. Depth prevents a collapse. Impact changes games. A serious contender needs both. San Francisco received 4 messages and none allows comfort. Stribling is ready for work earlier than planned. Reddick is the aggressive opportunity a vulnerable rotation should not ignore. Purdy received an ugly projection and has a season to tear it apart. Fehoko arrives as depth, not a savior. The common thread is simple. Talent protects a championship window only when it becomes an answer. Faithful, let me know where you stand. Should the 49ers attack the market for Reddick now, or trust Bosa and Williams to get healthy and carry this defense? Pick your side, subscribe to 49ers Express, and demand a roster built to finish the job.